Hey everyone, welcome back to Jim's EV Adventures. If you own an electric vehicle right now, there's a very good chance that you're quietly leaving hundreds of dollars a year on the table. And it has nothing to do with the car payment, insurance, or even public charging. If you want lower costs, less stress, and more confidence with your EV, stick around. Tire companies are pushing expensive EV-only tires like they're some kind of revolutionary must-have technology. At the same time, charging myths are so confusing that some people are actually giving up on their EVs because they think they can only plug in when the battery is at exactly 20%. Today, we're cutting through all the noise, and I'm going to show you the tires that have performed best on my high-mileage Bolt EUV, the smartest way to set up charging on both the Bolt and the IONIQ, and a dead simple calculator so you can see exactly how much money you should be saving every single month. This video will pay for itself. Let's start by busting the three biggest myths that are costing EV owners money. First, the tire myth. You must buy special, expensive EV-only tires or you'll lose range and ruin your ride. Second, the charging myth. You have to wait until the battery drops to 20% before you can plug it in, and then you should only charge back up to 80%. And third, the cost myth. Either home charging is going to double my electric bill, or it's basically free, so I don't need to think much about it. Now, we're going to fix all three of these, starting with the tires. Come with me if you will. Let's start out with the tires. I did a video about a year ago about the EV-only tire myth, and it's had about 200,000 views. And I will link it somewhere over here and in the description below. I've only run the OEM tires on the Hyundai IONIQ 5 so far, so everything I'm about to share is real-world testing that comes from my Bolt EUV. That's where I've done the comparison. There are three tires that I have run on the Bolt EUV. Obviously, the OEM tires that came with the Bolt, the Michelin Energy Saver All-Season Self-Seal. These are expensive tires and don't perform as well as the other two that I'm going to mention here. The Michelin Energy Saver tires are about $250 a piece, so you're looking at $1,000 or more for a new set of tires. The other two tires are the Nexen and the HANKOOK. First, the Nexen N5000 Platinum, and this has been the best performer for me so far on the Bolt. But the HANKOOK Kinergy ST H735 is also a solid, budget-friendly option, but it has not been delivering the same range that the old Nexens did, but I've only had them on there about 10,000 miles. After real miles on the Bolt, through the Florida heat, highway driving, and our recent 1,100-mile trip to Georgia, and the daily use, the Nexen again has given me the best performance overall on a balance of price, tread wear, quiet ride, and efficiency. It cost noticeably less than the premium EV-only tires the shops push, and it has performed better than the original Michelins ever did in my testing, my real-world use. That's real money back in your pocket every time you buy a set. And if you're shopping for your Bolt, I highly recommend going with the Nexens, but the HANKOOK Kinergy is a strong second, and I'm still testing those. I still probably have 30,000 or more miles to go, and I'll keep you informed as those tests go on. Now, let's talk about something else, charging, because this is where a lot of owners get it wrong and end up frustrated. First, the thing that I recommend you do is set up time of use scheduling. This is one of the easiest ways to cut your charging cost almost in half, depending on your time of use rates. Here is exactly how I've set this up on both of our cars. On the Bolt, I go into the charging settings and schedule it to only charge during my utilities cheapest overnight window. Okay guys, we're going to try to go through this on the Bolt EUV anyway to set up the time of use charging. You have to be on the home screen. Then you have to select energy. And then you go to charging options. Location-based charging is on. You have to have it turned on and you have to have your home set. So with the home location set, the vehicle will use the active charging options while you are at home. Finally, delayed charging is on. Delayed charging sets up the vehicle to charge overnight and will be ready for the next day's departure time. Charge overrides will allow you to temporarily alter your charging options for the next day charge only. And so tomorrow my departure time is 6 a.m. During the week it's 5 a.m. So I'm turning my utility rate charging on, click, and my charge rate preference, and then I'm going to go through is mid-peak and off-peak. My charge completion is the latest possible for my departure time, and my rate schedule is summer-winter. So let me click on this, summer-winter. So I have two rate schedules. My utility season is March 1st through November 30th for summer, and then the winter is what remains. I have a weekday schedule and a weekend schedule for summer. So I'm going to click weekday schedule first. And you'll notice that my off-peak is midnight to 6 a.m. off-peak. 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is mid-peak. 6 to 9 o'clock at night is peak. And then 9 to midnight is mid-peak. You may have different terms for those three rate levels, but basically they're going to be the same. Then I'm going to go back and look at my weekend schedule. Midnight to 12 a.m. all day for Saturday and Sunday is off-peak. So anytime I plug the car in during the summer, on the weekend, it's going to start charging. All right, so let's go back one more. My winter schedule, my weekday schedule, off-peak again is midnight to 3 a.m. with mid-peak 3 to 5 a.m. Peak from 5 to 9, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., and 9 p.m. to midnight is mid-peak again. So I can charge anytime except 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. I don't want to be charging in the middle of the day during the winter. So anywhere between midnight and about 5 o'clock in the morning, and from 9 o'clock to midnight at night. So there's my winter. And again, on the winter schedule, if you look at the weekend schedule, it's all off-peak. So no problems there. That's the Bolt, and that's how you set it up. Now let's go over the Hyundai. Now I've done the same thing with the IONIQ 5. It's super simple in the app or the car settings. Okay, let's do the Hyundai using the app. It's a lot easier there than it is on the screen. The first thing you're going to do is select Charge from the main screen. Secondly, you're going to select Scheduling at the top of the screen. Third, you will scroll down and select Off-Peak Charging, and there's a start and an end time there. And you will select both the start and the end time. And once you're finished with that, it's simply select Apply and Save Changes. And again, you're going to have to select the on-peak and off-peak times based on your electrical supplier's standards. And that's it. You're back in business with the IONIQ. I have both cars to set up and charge between midnight and 5 a.m. when my rate drops way down. Now, let's talk a little bit about LFP battery chemistry here. If you have an LFP pack, the rules are a little different than the 80-20 rule that I use on the Bolt and the IONIQ. These batteries have a shallower discharge cycle and actually benefit from charging to 100% periodically. Think 1 or 2 times per week. That way, the battery management system can recalibrate and give you accurate range estimates. For the rest of us with NMC or NCM batteries, the key is ABC. Always be charging. Your EV is not a gas car, and you must stop thinking about, I need to fill this thing up when the tank gets low. You don't need to wait until it's almost empty. Frequent small top-ups while staying in that 20 to 80% window are actually better for your car in the long term. Plug in whenever it's convenient. The car handles the rest. There is no magic formula. You have to figure out what works best for your life. Oh, and there's one more thing. If you're going to let your EV sit for extended periods of time, whether it's an NMC or LFP battery, then it's best to let it sit as close to 50% charge as possible. And if you have a Tesla, which has all the fancy keep my car cool or warm settings, disable those features if they are enabled and you're letting the car sit for an extended period of time. Otherwise, you're going to come back to a dead battery no matter what percentage you charged it to. Now, I did a savings calculator video a few weeks back, and I'm going to do it again here for posterity. How much are you actually saving? Let's run the numbers together, and I'm going to do it in a very much simpler format than I did before. Step 1, find your electricity rate per kilowatt hour on your utility bill. Step 2, find your car's efficiency, that is, the miles per kilowatt hour you're getting. My Bolt is sitting around 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour on average. Step 3, write down how many miles you drive per month. Then the math is simple. Miles per month divided by miles per kilowatt hour multiplied by your rate per kilowatt hour, and that's going to be your monthly charging cost. All this is on the screen. That is the simplest way to determine your monthly cost for your EV. I also go into the bill and I find the taxes and the add-ons that are on every bill in the world. I then add them all together and come up with the monthly cost for those add-ons, and then I divide that by how many kilowatt hours I used in my home that month. That gives me the tax and add-on rate to apply to future charging. Let's say your lowest rate is 7 cents per kilowatt hour. Then you have to add on all those nasty taxes and add-ons that every power company in America seems to do. And that, for me, is about 3.2 cents per kilowatt hour. Your actual lowest rate is then 7 cents per kilowatt hour plus those add-ons, 3.2 cents, and that brings you to a total of 10.2 cents per kilowatt hour. I love the comments where people say, I only pay 4 cents per kilowatt hour. That's true. But what are the fees, the add-ons, the taxes that you never mention? They never think about that. But still, compare that to what you used to spend on gas, and most owners are shocked at how fast it adds up, especially when you combine it with time of use rates. Go ahead and pause the video right now and run your own numbers. I'll wait. I'll be right here. Okay, here's the bottom line. Stop paying for fancy EV-only tires. On my Bolt EUV, the Nexen N5000 Platinum has been the best performer that I've had so far at a much better price. In fact, they were half the price of the OEM Michelins. The second thing is to stop stressing about charging. Set up the time of use scheduling and plug in whenever it's convenient and follow that ABC rule. Always be charging. Then thirdly, you can run your own savings numbers tonight and know exactly where you stand. Small, smart moves like these add up to real money and make EV ownership even more enjoyable than it already is. I hope this video helped clear up things or showed you how to save money. If it did, do me a favor, hit the like button. Drop your biggest takeaway or your monthly savings number in the comments, and I'm going to try to read every single one of them and respond. The links to the previous videos on these subjects are in the description below. If you want more details, go give them a look-see. Share this with anyone you know who owns an EV or is even thinking about owning one. And thanks for watching. drive smart, charge smarter, and I'll see you out there or somewhere along the route from point A to point B. Stay adventurous. See you all real soon.